You're listening to Estrogen Dropouts.
Welcome back to Estrogen Dropouts. I'm one of your hosts, Elizabeth.
And I'm your other host, Erin. Today we are going to be sharing some of our things that we wish we had incorporated early in our lives. This kind of came about as a conversation with a friend who was talking about things that she wished she had known in her 20s. And while we probably don't have a lot of 20-year-olds that listen to the podcast, these are all, I would say, things that we wish that we had started to do or not do early in our lives. So maybe in our 20s or 30s, maybe even in our 40s. And if you are listening and you may listen to some of the things that we list and you are still doing them. So this might be your a little catalyst for you to say, this is something I'm either going to stop doing or I'm going to start doing.
Yeah, absolutely. And something I always hear from people, or just women, just kind of contemplating, is this all there is in midlife? And am I in the right relationship? Am I in the right place in my life? And that leads to my first thing I wish I would have known or done sooner, which is leave non-growth mindset friends or relationships. Because if you are asking this, that means you have a heart and a desire for more, and you are more curious, more adventurous. You just want something different. And a lot of times women in midlife are like, do I want to stay married again for the next 20 years? I can tell you that I think that is one of the reasons Chris and I have been able to, we've come close to divorce and, just looking at our relationship and evaluating it. And I think the one thing that keeps us together is that we are both willing to look at our marriage and to grow it and put the hard work in to grow it and to have new opportunities. And when I look back at all the friendships I've had that did not work out, it's because I am very growth mindset and I always want to be moving forward and growing and doing something different and expanding my brain and my experiences. And if you are partnered with someone, whether it be your best friend, your friend's circle, or your spouse that is not of a growth mindset, you will feel stagnant, unfulfilled in life. It will just be very hard for you. So I think I would surround myself with growth-minded people.
I 100% agree with that. And I think that a lot of the friendships, for myself, that haven't lasted, that haven't withstood the test of time, it's like, even if somebody, I think of it even in a different way, a lot of times people that aren't growth-minded have a more of a negative outlook. So people that are complainers that just want to complain about a situation and never want to do anything about it. People that want to talk about other people and not talk about ideas or, just interesting topics or, things that are positive. So I 100% agree with that.
Everybody has a growth mind, and that's okay. If you're just a comfortable person, you're I'm comfortable with my job, I'm comfortable where I live, I'm comfortable with my friend group, I'm comfortable in my life, and you enjoy comfort more than you enjoy growth, that's okay. But if you are a comfort person and you're paired with a growth mindset person, that also is going to create friction. It's you've got to be partnered up well in that aspect.
Yeah, and I think there's certain things that you can be comfortable in, if you're comfortable in your home or if you have your dream job and you're really happy. But I think you always have to be growing in your profession. And then in your home, it may even be that you're just moving some pieces of furniture around. You're willing to just change things just to I'm always moving a plant around or I want to move something. I don't necessarily redecorate. It's nothing that I spend money on, but I'll just want to switch something from this room to this room just to keep it changing. But I think there are people, and I have kids that are, and they've gotten better as they've gotten older. But for instance, a few weeks ago, we went to a dinner party that you had to wear. It was a progressive dinner party and you had to wear wigs. And I had this really short bob, bright blue wig on. And I mean, everyone loved it. My husband was like, ooh, he's like, you might have to wear that later. And then all the people at the party, but my youngest son, who is living back at home because he finished college, he was like, he hated it because it was a change. So I think for certain things, kids don't like their parents to change, that they I can remember another time when my oldest was little and after I had my second baby, and that's the same thing. I went and I like got my hair cut really short. And when I came home, he was like, change it back. He was like 4, he just, I was like, dude, I can't glue the hair back on my head. So I think in some ways, it could have different applications because some things that, like kids don't like change. They don't want their parents to change. But overall, I think as an adult person, I'm always looking to grow for sure.
Yeah,
So
I just have like some extended family members that are not of growth mindset and are so happy. And they're like in their same inner circle of friends doing the same thing they've been doing for the past 25 years. And they are so content in life and so happy. And so they're doing great. But for me, because I am inspired by change, if Chris didn't mirror my desire for adventure and change, I would feel very unfulfilled.
what's interesting that you say that because Jeff and I are trying to plan a trip and he wants to go back to Italy again. And I'm like, we've been there several times. Let's go somewhere different. So, but he is a growth minded person and he is always, growing in his career and just his knowledge, but he definitely is a little bit of a creature of comfort or of habit where he's like, he just wants to go back to Italy, and I'm
Well, it's
like,
like, yeah, must be like a second home for him or it fills his heart up or something.
feel very at home there too. But I'm like, there's so many places that I want to visit. I mean, I love Italy. And if we were rich and we could like go on 4 vacations a year, one of them would be Italy every year. And then I'd go other places. But I want to experience new places too. And he's like, if it's not broke, let's not fix it. Like he just loves Italy. He's like, I love the food. I love the people. I love everything about it. And I'm just kind of like, let's go somewhere different. Well, I have one to share, which this is one that everybody usually says is, I wish I had learned earlier in my life, and I'm actually still working on it because I will tell you why I'm still working on it, is that no is a complete sentence and learning how to say no. I qualify everything. So, and I'm getting better. But it's like, let's say somebody asks me to do something and I can't go. I don't just say, oh, I'm sorry, I can't go. It's like, I'm sorry, I can't go, but blah, 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 And it's like, why do I feel the need to like qualify my no or justify it? Like it's the people pleaser in me. I know. But I just, that not feeling guilty when I say no, not giving an explanation, just saying like, I'm sorry, I can't do that, and I think that's just a really hard one, I think, for women because we have been conditioned to be accommodating, to be people pleasers, I think from like, school age, like when the teacher says, sit quietly at your desk and girls are doing that and boys are, having pencil wars or what have you. Typically, girls tend to be people pleasers more than boys. So, do you have a problem saying no?
Yes, I have been actively working on it the past 3 years. So I would always be like you, give big excuses or reasons. And then I did a challenge a couple years ago, probably 3 years ago now, where I just said no and no, thank you. I mean, very kindly, but without an excuse. And I did that for over a year. One specific instance still haunts me. And so I've kind of adopted a new method to it. So somebody asked me to speak at an event that they were having. I said, so I had to not only pay to travel to the event because it's a new company. I also had to pay my entrance fee into the event. So it was like, if you were planning on attending, we would like you to be a speaker, but you can't even have your entrance fee. And so I just said, no, thank you. But I just said no, but thank you for the opportunity. But I do like the person that was hosting the event. It kind of it doesn't haunt me, but it kind of nags at me a little bit that I wish I had gone back and said, I can totally understand you being a new company, like me having to pay my way to the event, but having to pay my entrance fee as a speaker seems unfair to me. So at this time, I'm going to pass. Should that change on your end, please let me know. something like, I wish I would have given more context in that situation instead of just no. And so moving forward, the way I'm looking at this is, if it is somebody that I want to stay in my life for long term and that I genuinely care about or want to foster a relationship with, then I need to give a little bit of context because people's imaginations run wild. And
Yes.
so then it is worth it. If it is a neighbor down the street that's hosting a wine party or something, I can simply say, I'm sorry, I'm not available. Thank you for the invite. If it's you, for instance, I'm going to be like, I can't come because of X, Y, and Z. I wish I could. You're going to get more of an explanation than the neighbor down the street. And what I have learned is, by us saying no without the explanation, we are teaching other women how to do that and that it is okay. And so, because sometimes we have to see that modeled. Like, I'm sure most women listening to this, their mothers gave full explanations and never just said, I'm unavailable or that won't work for me. I'm sorry, but thanks for thinking of me. And so we have to sometimes model that for people to know how to do it.
I agree 100%. And I do think, yes, it is based on your proximity to the person as far in relationship wise. I mean, like, if my mom asks me to do something, I'm not just going to say, no, I'm not available. I'm going to say, I'm going to, say, well, could we do it this day or could we move things around? So, yeah. But what's your next one?
Mine is to be honest. Little white lies add up. And so in the moment, and this for me started young, little white lies to not hurt people's feelings. Just like, how are you today? Like, if I'm upset, like, say if it's even just like a friend that I'm upset with, not like in high school or something, not even having that specific talk and just pushing my feelings down and faking it and kind of going with the flow. And then, like, do you like this shirt on me? Saying yes, because it is what I believed was the kind thing to do in the moment. So all these little white lies add up to a really heavy weight. And eventually, in my experience, it contributed to me losing myself in my face and not recognizing myself anymore. Because my opinion of who I was so intertwined with all the little white I would say not even lies, being agreeable to people, so that out of fear that I would hurt their feelings, or so, instead of just speaking my truth, whether it be from political standpoints, whether it be like personal standpoints, like anything, just not sharing my truth in moments, it ended up being a really heavy noose around my neck, where it started out as little white lies.
Well, I think that kind of goes hand in hand with the saying no as a complete sentence,
Yeah.
because it's like not just being agreeable to be agreeable when we don't feel agreeable. And I do think that that is something that we've been conditioned to do. But I am the person that if it's not kind, I may white lie. So if somebody already has something that they've bought, let's just say that, like, a friend, and she's got a new like top on or whatever, and she says something about the top, but I don't like it, I will. And if I'm asked, I would probably say, yeah, it's very nice, just
Right,
because.
which is what I did. But so now I'm saying things like I'm recognizing that they feel special in it, or they bought it because they love it. And so instead of lying, I'm saying, I can see how happy that shirt makes you. I'm really happy you bought that.
Yeah. So
Or
you're not necessarily like telling them like, yes, I love it, but you're saying it is perfect for you. It's
yeah,
so you, or it's like, definitely I can see why you were drawn to it, or it
yeah,
just yeah. No,
do
that.
that. Or say like whenever like somebody cuts it's a hairstyle or something that I don't like, I don't have to like it. It's it's not my hair, it's none of my business how somebody does their hair. Or like if my daughter gets a tattoo and I don't like it and she's like, do you like this? It is on her body at this point. And there's no reason that she needs to have my voice in her head saying I don't like it, because then that just feels like judgment and scrutiny and stuff. And so instead I'm just like, I'll just be like, well, that does look like you, or that seems like something that you like, or like, I wouldn't get it, but if you like it, that's all that matters. that kind of thing.
Yeah. Or like tattoos probably aren't my favorite thing, but I'm glad it makes you happy, or I'm
Yeah.
glad that you love it. My mom did that. My mom is very honest. My mom doesn't tell white lies, but my youngest niece got her hair. She had this long mermaid hair, beautiful hair. And she got the haircut from Joe Dirt that David Spade had, it's like a mullet.
Yeah. Well, those were in style, the wolf cut. That's what it's
Yes,
called.
but
It came back in style.
it was a little bit more severe than the wolf cut. It was even like, it was straight Joe Dirt. I mean, like there's
Okay.
a picture. And when she asked my mom, do you like my hair? My mom said, no, I like your hair long. And I'm like,
Yeah.
granddaughter, don't just say that. I did this with my kids a lot, instead I'd say, well, do you love it? And if they said yes, then I'd say, well, that's all that matters. Like, as long as you're happy.
Yeah, I remember when I dyed my hair bright pink, and my mom, the first thing she said when she saw it, she goes, ew. And I'm like, that's just so unnecessary. Like when my daughter dyed her hair pink and the other one dyed it blue, like my first reaction was in my mind, like I didn't like it, but I'm like, that's fun. It is fun. That doesn't mean I have to like it. It shows that you have a fun personality. And there are things you can say. If you have enough self control to not say ooh to the checkout lady at the grocery store, you should have enough, you don't think that a lot of times I think people think like it's like a family member, I've got to be so honest. So I believe in being honest, but I also don't think that honesty has to hurt.
Especially when somebody loves it. It's like, it's not my taste. Like blue hair is not something I would have. But if somebody else loves it, then like run with it, man. It doesn't. And now my niece has grown her hair back out and she has mermaid hair again. So all is right with the world. But
And for the record, you looked amazing with blue hair. That wig looked so good on you.
I probably wouldn't be able to, the blue, the colored hair, it fades so fast. So
Yeah.
we wouldn't be able to do that. But the haircut, I definitely think that's going to be my old lady haircut. Okay. Well, my next one is kind of a little bit of a segue, kind of ties into what you were saying, is that no one cares about you as much as you think they do. And this is something that I think is it's a freeing thing. It's like liberating, because I don't mean it in a negative way. I don't mean that people don't care about you. But what I mean is that like the bad haircut, the awful outfit, maybe you're walking. The other day I was walking at the gym and I ran right into a machine. Like, it was like a cartoon character. I bounced off of it, and my first thought was like, oh gosh, I hope nobody else saw. The gym was packed. Everyone saw. Then I was like, what do I care? I mean, like, it's like when you stumble or you trip and you get all embarrassed because you've you think everybody's watching you and judging you. And most people are thinking the same thing. They are thinking everyone's watching me. They're not actually thinking about you. They're not critiquing everything that you do. So I think it's just very like freeing to think that, no one is thinking about me. And so like I can stop worrying about like other people's opinions or thinking that every place I walk, somebody is thinking like, what is she wearing? Oh my gosh, what is that hair? Blah, 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 all the things. So
Yeah. And I think that a lot of times people that do get hung up in that are people that are critical of others, that get stuck in that it's because they're judging themselves constantly and they're judging others constantly. And so like, I'm not one that has ever like cared about stuff like that. And I think it's because I'm not super critical of myself, like in that sense, or I don't know, like, but I do have friends that are like, oh, I can't, like, they want to try new makeup. And of course, as a beauty influencer, they're always like coming to me asking for help. And then I'll put something and they're like, oh, I can't do a smoky eye or I can't wear a red lip because what would everybody say?
what would everybody think?
Yeah. And I'm like, no one's going to think shit. People are going to think you have on a red lipstick in the end, and they're going to go about their life. But they're like, no, because I never wear red lipstick. And then they get hung up. You are critiquing it is your own lens looking back at yourself. If you are distracted by someone else's appearance or someone else's activities, you need to focus on yourself.
Yeah.
Because I agree. Most people do not care. And even think about somebody that you are critical of or opinion that you have had about somebody. It is fleeting.
Yeah, definitely. So give yourself that freedom, ladies. Stop worrying about what other people think because they aren't thinking about you.
Yeah. Okay, so my next one is super simple, but it's audiobooks. I wish I had started audiobooks much sooner. I absolutely love audiobooks, and you can get a membership to Audible. And then I've got two different memberships to Audible. I have the basic membership, and then for like $5 or $7 more a month. On top of that, you get unlimited Audible within a certain catalog, but it has every different genre of books within that catalog. So, and it changes frequently. So I listen to audiobooks when I'm doing anything I don't want to do. If I don't want to be going for a walk, I'm putting an audiobook on. If I have to clean my bathroom or deep clean the house or reorganize something or just anytime I don't want to be doing something, or if I have a long drive or anything, I'm listening to an audiobook. It helps time go by quicker. And I know a lot of people are like, I just can't get into other people's voices. Sample the different audiobooks and do not purchase a book that you do not like their voice because you will not get over it. It will irritate you. And so you sample every single book, listen to it, see if you like it. And then if you're like, okay, I can listen to this voice, then go ahead and read the reviews. Those are my tips for that.
Yeah. So it's interesting. I'm a visual learner, so I like to read books. I'm in a book club in my neighborhood. I've been in several book clubs, and most of the ladies in there listen to them on Audible or audiobook, and I can't. So when I clean or if I'm doing something that I don't want to do, I have to have music because if I try to listen to a book, I end up can think and then 5 minutes has passed and I'm like, crap. So then I have to rewind. So, I mean, I definitely think you have to find the thing that works for you. So if Audible audiobooks don't work for you, then you can listen to podcasts or something that would help you grow your brain versus just, vegging out. So yeah. Okay. Well, my next one is, I think, a really important one, especially as for women as we enter midlife, because we let so many things kind of sit off in the kind of horizon. Is you don't have to have it all figured out. Progress over perfection is maybe another way of saying that, is that most of the time, half the people don't even know what they're doing anyways. I don't mean that your surgeon doesn't know what he's doing because hopefully he's done a surgery before he gets to you, but you don't have to always have everything figured out before you start something. I mean, you definitely need to have I'm not saying go and climb Mount Everest without any preparation. That's something you may want to have figured out, right? So you need to have your supplies. But oftentimes I think we get held back because we just aren't quite sure how to do it. And I'm sure for you, when you started becoming a beauty influencer online, you were probably didn't have it figured out. You had to figure it out as you went along. You're just how do you become a brand ambassador for somebody? How do you market yourself? How do you do this? It's each piece kind of unfolded the next thing. The same thing with the podcast. I was I don't know how to edit. I don't know how to record. I don't know how to even upload something. I'm the least technically savvy person, but I was I also, can figure it out. So most everything is figure outable. So
Yeah, action is the key. You've got to take action and move toward the goal, and then it's slowly the next piece will open up. When we often times look at something as a whole, like how do I become a beauty influencer is overwhelming, or how do I become fit and have the body of my dreams? That is overwhelming. But if you go, well, it starts if you just take one step at a time. I have to record a video today. I need to go for a walk today. You do that until it becomes comfortable. And then all of a sudden it's okay, I made a video. Now let me learn how to do a different type of video or edit it a little bit more and up level a little bit or add weights to my walk. And you just slowly, then the next thing you know, a year later, you're going to be a master.
yeah. Yeah. So I think everything you can figure out, everything is just put one foot in front of the other and then the next step will appear and then you figure that step out and then the next step. So,
well, my next one is hobbies. Hobbies are not just meant for children. But if you need to cultivate and maintain hobbies throughout your entire adult life, and we need to, as we enter, our end of life, we need to always have hobbies and activities that we're doing. And if you aren't sure and you feel like you don't have any hobbies, the best way to get started is to look back at what you enjoyed doing as a child, because you likely will still enjoy those things. My favorite thing was riding a bike. I still love riding bikes. I loved playing in the woods. I now hike regularly or go for a walk, but I go in the woods, like on trails. That's like my preference. I always loved arts and crafts and painting and stuff like that. I do that now. I always loved accessorizing and fashion and stuff. And so when I'm getting ready to go out, it is an event for me. It is not, it is like the whole thing. It is like the jewelry. Like I'm enjoying the process, and that is hobby for that's a hobby for me. And so when you are trying something new, you can also of course do brand new things. Like I recently did painted pottery, and but so then you want to like look at these to know if it's something you want to continue to do, because oftentimes we think if we're not good at it, maybe it's not meant for us. That is not true. So you want to ask yourself, how did you feel while you were doing the activity? Did you lose track of time? Anything you lose track of time with is a good indicator that you should continue to do that. This is why I canceled my cleaning service. I lose track of time when I clean my house. I actually love to deep clean my house. I love it. I don't do it as frequently as Chris would like, because he is very clean and tidy all the time. But if I have a cleaning service, I'll never do it because other things just take priority. But I love it. I lose track of time. I get involved in it. I love to organize. I love to declutter. It's like 5 hours will go by and I'll be deep into purging everything and reorganizing. And I'm obsessed. So if you lose track of time, that's a good indicator that you like it. If while you were doing it, you felt some type of peace, joy, curiosity, you can feel frustration, but desire to want to be there. And then when you leave the activity or when you're done with it, did you feel like, that was kind of interesting. That was fun. Or I don't know. I mean, I didn't hate it. Then maybe it's enough. If you've got 2 out of 3 that are more positive, try the activity again before you decide. I was thinking recently, I told Chris, I loved roller skating as a kid. I'm like, I think I want to try rollerblading. I've never rollerbladed, but I'm like, maybe I'm going to try that next. I think that could be fun.
It's fun. I used to have rollerblades. And when Jeff and I first got married, we each had a pair. And then our home was burglarized and they stole our rollerblades because we had nothing to steal. I don't know why the thieves came to our house. We were poor, but they stole our rollerblades and our leather jackets.
Oh my gosh. Terrible.
And I've never gotten any rollerblades since then, but I loved to roller skate. I mean, that was going to the skating rink was like so much fun as a kid. And I love how you said that. Think back to when you were a kid, because what was every kid's favorite thing in school was the day that you had art. I mean, it's like I loved going to art class.
Me too.
We only went to art class like once a week,
Yeah,
back
once a week.
even in the 70s. But, it's like the art teacher would, it's like you do paper mache or you'd, do watercolors, or you'd take, that one thing where you would like draw on a piece of paper and then you put black crayon all over it and then you'd like, scratch. And I mean, me too. I mean, and it's so funny because when I love to do crafts and I'm not like artistically talented, but I love to be creative. And there's, it's like we were born to create, I think, as humans. Like that's just part of having, I think, a higher brain, than like animals, is to create things. And it's so therapeutic. It's like, it's so good. And you have to like give up the quest of perfection or to make it look a certain way. It's more just like, just do it, to create. So I love that one. Okay. Well, my next one is a good one. And I think that I'm still working on is stop trying to control people, situations, everything, right? It's something that has been a challenge of mine since I think I was a little girl. I think I could probably trace it back to why I have this need to control things. And I know that in yoga, I learned about non-attachment is like practicing non-attachment is like where you are just able to keep your peace no matter what is going on around you. And you're able to like just not try to manipulate or control things, because control is an illusion. And that's why we like to control the things that we think that we can control, like a situation or a person or just things in our life, because we know deep down we have no control, and it makes us feel safe to have the control over like something, because even if it's still an illusion, it's like it gives us like that little bit of comfort, because we are all the bigger questions, like, why are we here? What's going to happen after I die? Like all the things that make life scary. When we have this little bit of control over a situation or a person, then it gives us that feeling of everything is safe. Everything is, how it's supposed to be. So I think that, get like learning to just live in that uncertainty and finding peace there, practicing non-attachment, not trying to like control people or things or outcomes. It's the only way that we can truly experience peace in our life. And I'm still working on it. I've definitely am not, it's a daily practice for me.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty good at, there are two people that I do try to control. I don't try to control my kids at all. And I think I'm good at it because I hate to be controlled, and I will push away from anyone that tries to control me. And I know, because I've like run from home, because I'm like, if you're trying to put me in a box, you're not going to see me again. And so I'm really good at like letting my kids figure it out. But my husband, I try to control him if it has to do with me. If it doesn't have to do with me, he can do whatever he wants. If it has to do with me, then it's like sometimes I'm like, I fight for what I want in the situation, because I feel like I need a say, or I need like, if it has to do with his career, because that affects where we live, or then it's like I get loud. But it's like sometimes it might be a little much. And then with my mom, I do, because like I try to control her happiness. And as an elderly widow, a lot of times she's not very happy. And I'm like trying to make her happy. And so I'm like trying to like, maybe you should do this and then you'll be happy. And really what I'm trying to do is have my own relief from worrying about her. But I need to figure that out on my own. Like I have with my kids. My kids, they will literally be going through something, and I can emotionally,
Like
which I
disconnect.
think a lot of my friends can't do this, I can disconnect and I can go, they have to figure this out, and that hard time is going to grow them. And I'm like, let me just see how this plays out. Good on them. And so I can sit there and watch it and not be triggered. But with my mom, for some reason, I am so triggered, and I'm like trying to put all the fun things in front of her, and all the relationships in front of her, and all the friendships, and I'm trying to fix
You're
her
trying
so
to
I cannot worry about her. But my kids, yeah, I'm trying to fix her, and she doesn't want to be fixed. Or
I was
maybe
gonna
she
say,
does. She says she does, but
that's so interesting,
you
because
have to take the
opposite. Like usually like I don't ever even consider controlling my mom, but like my kids, I'm like, learn from my mistakes, or like, I try to, sit there and think like, this isn't what you should do. I'm not as good as you about that, but I mean, I've definitely gotten better. And now my kids are all adults. And so I definitely am like, I don't try to parent them. I wouldn't say that I'm their friend, like their best friend. Like, I don't consider my kids like my best friends.
yeah, me either.
We still have a little bit of a parent child relationship, not in the sense of like when they were younger, but,
A mentor.
yeah, there's just certain things that keep us. Also, I mean, I have boys, so maybe if I had a daughter, maybe we would be more best friends. But yeah, that's interesting that you have the opposite, because usually I think for most people would be trying to control their kids than their
Yeah,
than
and I really don't like, I'm like, "Oh, this is gonna blow up. Let's sit here and watch this." And I don't say anything because I know it's not helpful for me to. But for some reason with my mom, I cannot stop myself from saying something. It's the weirdest thing.
yeah. Well, she probably wouldn't want you calling her elderly, FYI.
Oh, she definitely would not. She would definitely die. Do we wanna continue, or do we wanna?
Yeah, I have one more.
Okay.
Do you have one more?
Yeah. Okay, my next thing would be developing systems and routines sooner. I think I've fought this because I am such a in the moment type person, and I have control issues. Like, don't try to control me. And so to me, like, I for years I thought systems or routines. I prefer the word systems, because routine feels like a noose around my neck, because I don't like to be controlled. So I use the word systems. So you use whatever floats your boat. So systems helps me so much. So like doing simple things I started years ago, just like doing the dish. I'll never go to bed with dishes in the sink. They're always done. Now I do wake up in the morning with dishes in the sink because Nicole and her boyfriend will, but when I go to bed, it is clear. I make my bed first thing in the morning. I floss after I eat. Like there are certain things that I have developed. And so I do and now after Erin was like, telling that story a few podcasts ago about the fart walk. So now after dinner, I'm like, we have to go on a fart walk every night. I'm like, we got to go on a fart. And Chris will be like, it's like 100 degrees out. I'm like, I don't care. It's fart walk time. Let's go. And
You're like,
so,
come on.
yeah, there are systems in place now because whenever you create systems or routine, your brain doesn't get fatigued from making decisions. And so you just automatically do it without thinking it. You wake up in the morning, you make your bed, you brush your teeth, you wash your face, you do your jumps 50 times. All of these things are automatic that I literally put no energy into thinking about that make my life better. And so you do one thing at a time, master it, and then you add another one. I still really, really, really want to add in Erin's every time you pee, do 10 squats. I literally, it's like I have a mental block against it because I cannot remember. So I'm thinking about putting sticky notes on the toilet, 10 squats.
Yeah, when you go.
Yeah, because that was the one
I
I'd really
think
love to incorporate.
Yeah, I think that systems, I think that it's the word, the reason that you don't have a problem with it is systems is a word that kind of equates with efficiency. So it's like reducing friction. So it's a positive connotation where routine sounds like boring, like, oh,
Yes.
it's like, but it's like I have this system. And so it's like efficient. It reduces friction. It like saves time, yada, yada. So yeah, I can see how that would, just the word play alone is like, oh, yeah. So yeah, I have systems, I might have called them routines, like my morning routine, my nighttime routine, but it's definitely a system. So I think that that is something, especially like say if you're trying to eat healthy, food prepping. So you have a food prep system. My system is on Sunday, I prep all this stuff and for the week. It definitely does reduce friction. Well, I have one last one, which is one that I think no matter your age, you should be trying to adopt is to love your body. And I know that this is such a you know kind of a trope. Everyone says, like, love the body you're in. But what I want to say is that you will never be this age or this again. So in my 20s, when I was, say, in my 20s and I'd look in the mirror, I would just see things that I didn't like, this and that. And, but now when I look back at those pictures of myself, I'm like, oh my gosh, what was I even not liking back then? Like, why did I think I was fat? I was like 108 pounds. Or why did I not like my eyes? And so it's helping me in this moment because when I do look in the mirror and I see like the marionette lines and the little, softening of the jawline and the neck getting crepey, I get like, that's all I focus on. And I've told you, and our listeners don't know this, but if you watch the YouTube videos of our podcast, I always smile so that as it comes on, because if I'm frowning and I see that, if I'm just not smiling, all I focus on is like, oh my gosh, look at those lines coming down from the corners of my mouth. And I just look so grouchy and like look so old. But so it's like you're like, I know that at 80, if God willing, I get to live to be 80, I'm going to look at back at pictures of myself now and be like, why didn't I just love what I saw? Why did I have to pick it apart? And my middle son's girlfriend, not too long ago, they sent me a picture because they were both in the same spot in New York City, like a couple years apart. They didn't even know each other. And it's like they both have a picture in front of this restaurant. And I was like, oh my gosh, look at baby Hannah. And she's like, I know. She goes, now I look back and I'm like, was I so hard on myself? I mean, she's only early 30s, but this was like when she was 18. And I'm like, girl, I know you gotta like today love yourself,
Yeah, for sure. I remember like my big thing, I don't ever, which is weird as a beauty influencer. I mean, I don't have Botox or fillers or anything, and I have wrinkles on my forehead and jowls starting and all that. But I don't ever like get caught up in that kind of stuff. I don't know why it hasn't affected, knock on wood. I hope there are certain things I don't like. Like I don't like my under eye area, but I don't like it doesn't cause me as much emotional turmoil or anything as my body and my weight does. And I remember my sister in law saying to me years ago, I was sitting by the pool and I had on like gaucho pants and a tank top and I wasn't getting in the pool and swimming. And she looks at me and she said, I didn't even say like why I didn't have a bathing suit on or anything. And she looked at me and she said, I don't know who you think you're fooling, but we all, because I was in an all black outfit, you know, like trying to make
Yeah.
myself look slimmer.
Trying to make yourself smaller. Yeah.
Yeah. And she's like, I don't know who you think you're fooling. We all know what your body looks like. You walk around here all the time. If you like, we can see you. So if you want to get in the pool, put a bathing suit on and get in the pool. You're not surprising anyone with the way you look and you're not fooling anyone. And I was like, well, shit. And then I was like, you're right. Everyone else, like, I'm thinking I'm hiding here. I'm not hiding. Like, people can see me. There's no hiding.
I think it actually draws more attention when you like wear, I've seen people wear all black and oversized and they're trying to hide, trying to hide their bodies. They're trying to make
Yeah.
themselves appear and it doesn't work for one thing. And yeah, I mean, it's like, there's nothing wrong with like saying, oh, I want to be healthier. I want to be able to walk 4 miles, or I want to be able to do 10 push-ups in a row. And so less of the emphasis on like the size and more on what your body can do. And I made a post. It's actually a post that I made on Facebook years ago. And it was me doing a handstand. And it was just, yeah. And it was just like how I want to love the body that has birthed 3 children, that has swam in oceans, that has, climbed mountains, that lets me go upside down, that like lets me do all these wonderful things to occupy this body. So instead of picking it apart, and I need to focus, I'm not really down on like my actual body. It's more like face, like that when I catch glimpses of my, self and I see, yeah, the hollowing under the eyes or the marionette lines, the jowls, the neck. And it's like, I need to start like thinking like this face has, like been the one that my kids saw when they were little, instead of just always thinking of it as in the negative. Like this is the face that
I see women like when I see women like Michelle Pfeiffer and like that have not done things. And so when you see her on social media, those are filtered. But there are different accounts out there that do post unfiltered red carpet looks. And when you go follow those accounts and you see these women unfiltered, and like Michelle Pfeiffer's in her 60s, and she's got crinkly under eyes and deep marionette lines and lines in her forehead. Like, that's not what you notice. You're like, she's so beautiful. Like, she's so beautiful. And so I'm like inspired by that. And I'm like, I don't know. I think the more we look at unfiltered, natural faces, and I don't record beauty content with filters on. However, I am under bright light, which does soften wrinkles. So I do sometimes, not often enough, but a couple of times a year, I'll do a video like showing me with overhead lighting versus bright lights because there is a big difference. But I do think that that's important for people to see because the more we see natural faces that don't have fillers, that don't have facelifts, that don't have then I don't know, like, I think that that would help us all feel more confident.
Well, it does, because I mean, society is, every ad is like a perfectly, filtered, and now even, with, it's like even more so, it messes with your head. I follow Paulina Porskova, the
Mhm. Yeah,
model.
she hasn't done anything.
Yeah, she looks amazing. And then I also follow Mariel Hemingway, and she also, I mean, it's like wrinkles, but just naturally, like it's like not even the external beauty. It's like it comes from within, both of them. It's like it radiates out of them,
That's what I'll say too about
so
like Michelle Pfeiffer and like all these women. It's because I think they aren't caught up in the superficialness of it. And they really are embracing who they are. And so they step into a true beauty that is shining from within. And so the wrinkles and the gray hair and all of that, it's secondary because all you're seeing is their light.
Mm-hmm.
And so whenever we step into our light, that becomes the focus and not our wrinkles.
Yeah. So, well, I think we have covered some great things that we wish that we had adopted sooner. Hopefully our listeners relate to some of what we share today, because I think this is universal, especially for women, most of the topics that we covered. I mean, they could apply to men some, but I think they definitely are probably more unique to women.
Yeah. Well, if you guys have anything else that you'd like us to add to a future episode that you think that is of value that we missed out on, please reach out and let us know. And you can follow us on social media, TikTok, Instagram, watch full versions of YouTube, and we will see you next week. Have a great week.
Bye.
Bye.
This has been a production of Estrogen Dropouts, LLC.